Thank you very much, Johnny, Lillian and Shane. Kia ora. I can say kia ora.
Madam Chair, there is a next training, making an impact with Māori training. There's one on the 25th of March, it's been sent out to us, and another one that I couldn't go to, so they're already in the diaries.
Okay, great, thank you. Right, Auckland Council Performance Report.
This is it.
Sorry. Welcome, Jenny and Bruce. You haven't been to our committee before? You have? Once. Okay. Must have been a really interesting meeting.
Good afternoon, councillors. Okay, so we've got the performance results for the 6 months ended December, and these are for the Auckland Council parents, it's not the group. The group results are currently going through an audit review process, and they're due to be released to the Stock Exchange on Friday next week. And the full group results will be presented next month to the committee. Okay, so we have got a very detailed report with lots of highlights and achievements, and the first 2 slides just pick up a few of the key highlights. There were, first up, the local board plans that were adopted during the quarter. There were a number of events held. We had the Te Atatu Library and Community Centre that opened. The Myers Park Playground opened with a blessing and formal opening. And there was also the Auckland Heritage Festival that took place. Next slide covers off the credit ratings that we got from Standard & Poor's and Moody's. They reassessed and reviewed our credit ratings and gave us a strong AA rating. The Bledisloe Lane service lane opened in the last quarter with some good positive feedback from customers. And the Auckland Development Committee approved the Auckland Housing Bond Guarantee Initiative. Moving on to the performance measures results. This slide shows you the activity levels over the last month in December. There are trend graphs in the report which show you the trends over the last 18 months, which may be more helpful. The first few items there, the building consents received, building inspections completed, and new residential dwellings, those have all, we've seen increases in volumes for all of those compared to last year. The resource consents applications lodged, that one's actually dropped down, and the reason for that is last year we had a bit of a spike with the unitary plan being launched. And then the last 3 items, they are generally at a similar level to what we've seen previously.
Chair, there's any questions after?
Afterwards, yeah.
Thank you.
Just note them.
Okay.
Okay, the next slide goes through the performance measures in our key service areas, and the results presented there are for the month of December. All the results really are at the same level as what we have previously delivered. There's one exception there, and that's in the urgent animal control complaints, where we've seen a drop down to 89%. Previously it's been up in the 99, 98%. And the team have told me that there were basically some services that were brought in-house, so the central and southern areas were brought in-house during this period, and they had some technology and process issues which caused a bit of a glitch for them. But their January result is back up at 99%. Okay, the report's got a number of appendices to it. There's an economic update report, there's a treasury report, there's some details on professional services costs, Lagoima information and customer service information. And we have got some officers here to answer questions on those particular areas, should you wish to ask some. Okay, then jumping across to the financial performance. We have got a large surplus to date for the half year, $695 million. We did report last quarter the change in accounting policy, where we are now recognising all the rates revenue upfront at the beginning of the year. So we have a huge surplus at the half year, and that'll slowly whittle down as we go through and progress through the year. So the year-to-date net operational result is $38 million better than revised budget, so that's looking good and positive. And rates revenue side of that is a $6 million favourable variance to date, and operating revenue is sitting at $24 million favourable to date. And the key items included in that operating revenue are the dividend income and some higher user charges than budgeted, and some examples in that would be the building consents income. And then the operating expenditure is largely on track. We're slightly lower than budget at $8 million, and that's largely due to some timing differences. And the last bullet point there is on the non-operating result. This is usually an area we don't focus on because it's not performance-driven specifically. We are mentioning it here because we've got a $100 million unfavourable variance to budget to date. And the main driver here is the Treasury derivatives portfolio, where we've had to fair value those. We do it every month, and it has generated a big negative variance there. The main reason there is really around the declining interest rate environment that we currently have. Okay, capital delivery performance. Okay, so to date, first 6 months, we've got $260 million of capital investment completed, and that's just slightly behind budget at $28 million lower than budget. The full program for the year is $558 million, and latest forecast information is that we will deliver about $530 million for the year. There is an issue with current long-term plan that we're consulting on, and that the funding assumption there is sitting at $440 million for the year. So there's a difference there of about $90 million that needs to be worked through as we finalise the long-term plan. So to summarise, for the first 6 months, we are reporting here that there's no areas of material concern. Both the financial and non-financial performance results are largely on track. And the capital investment program, we've delivered a significant amount of work to date at $260 million. And there's also that funding gap that I mentioned. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Can I just ask, on the performance measures, I see 83% of urban noise complaints responded to within 30 minutes. Unfortunately, I get calls from people that say noise control have said they won't come out to my area because it's too far away.
They don't
So
count.
if you've got a noisy party happening, which they did over New Year up in the Wellsford Tomarata area, noise control refused to come. They won't go to Omaha, they don't go to Lee, and they don't go to Matakana. So it would be really good if somebody could get back to me about why it used to happen in the old days and doesn't happen now.
We'll get back to you on that.
Because it is a bit of a concern. Councillor Filipaina, do you have a question?
Chair, was only in regards to the performance measures, and I mean, I've been having to look through the graph, but is there one around the building consents around the areas? I think that both Callum and I were talking about the building consents, sorry, not the performance measures, the performance measure for the activity levels for the month. Is there an opportunity to put in the PowerPoint where the building consents are being received from, as in the area?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sounds like a good idea.
yeah, I'm just sort of going through. Callum was going to raise it, but we just sort of had a discussion around that same particular issue.
I'd have to find out.
Yeah, okay. Yep. Councillor Penrose.
Yeah, so, thanks, Madam Thanks, Madam Chair.
He's got the flipped one.
And the reason why I asked that, because I hear there's been a bit of a drop in consents, building consents out south, which I'm a bit, I was a wee bit, I suppose, perturbed about really, but it'll give us a bit of an indication of what's actually happening across the different sections of the region. But following also, Madam Chair, I also have had the same concerns that you've had in regards to the outlying areas with noise control, and maybe it's a role that we could do as a dual role, whether it's through animal management or something that we could look into. Especially in our outlying areas, there's no excuse. We're one council, and we'd be absolutely hammered if we didn't deal with that. My next question is around fleet vehicles. really, and that is that whilst we go around the region, I see a huge amount of fleet vehicles based in town and up west, and I must say I'm overly surprised how many Auckland Transport have. Yet we seem to under-deliver fleet vehicles at other parts of the region, and I'm concerned about if I look at Franklin, if I look at Papakura, sort of Manukau, you know, the fleet vehicles are getting scarce and scarcer as they go, and obviously it's more of a centralising into the CBD. And what I'm concerned about is being able to deliver out to our communities, and staff having to wait maybe 3 to 6 hours, maybe 2 days to get it and do their job. So I would really like to, Kevin, to have a bit of a review of that and maybe report back to us.
Yep. Yeah, look, yeah, quick comment through the chair, yeah. Fleet usage is definitely a part of the Value for Money program we've got in place.
Yep.
Pick up on your comment though as one added piece is whether there's actually availability where it is truly needed.
Yep.
So I take it the people that are raising that concern with you are actually raising it with the fleet team here?
Yes.
It's been brought to their attention?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Because no, we've built up some very good usage statistics, so we actually get a feel for which cars are used, and we'll be looking at that. So we'll report back on that, yep.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you. Councillor Cooper.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to follow on from your noise control, because I get complaints that, yes, they do come, they tell the person to turn it down, then they go away and then they just turn it up again. So, you know, we might get a response, but is it effective? You know, and then the people have to call again and all that, and then they just give up. And actually, I've got one guy's actually sold and he's just leaving. He just can't cope anymore with noise from the people in the street. You know, 2 a.m. running the pit bulls and loud music the whole time. And I think some of the families are just too intimidating for our noise control people. So this guy's moving out of the area. So there's that one. The other one is around, yes, we opened our new library, fantastic, in Te Atatu. But I want to talk about some of the ways we deliver stuff. The Ranui Library, 4 huge kauri trees planted on the footpath. One blocks, you know, as part of the landscaping of the library. I've sent pictures to the CEO. Blocks, you know, one of them blocks the bloody traffic lights, so you can't even see them. 3 of them are now dead because they're planted in the height, you know, right on summer. They were never going to be shade trees for the seats. You know, why do we continue to waste money, make us look stupid, you know, kill trees that didn't need to be, and we keep planting forest trees, you know, in these places? It's just ludicrous, you know. We can do better, and I just think, I don't know who's signing these things off, and it's not you guys, you're just measuring stuff, but you know, this all adds up to poor performance as far as I'm concerned. When I get emails, you know, and all I had to say to the guy that sent me this great long email yesterday was, I agree with you completely. You know, why are we doing this? Why do we continue to plant pohutukawas on our footpaths to then break every footpath? We've got places you walk, it's like walking on a roller coaster because of all the patches down the whole street, and we continue to plant things like pohutukawas on our next to our footpaths. So to me, that's poor performance. It's a little thing, but it's out there in the public. It's a waste of money, and it continues to make our maintenance budget be stretched to the limit for stuff that didn't need to happen. So I don't think we're making decisions sometimes that actually make us effective or even look sensible. So, yeah, so someone's going to have to now rip up all that big footpath and the special pits dug, rip the bloody kauri trees out on an urban road, you know, and waste several thousands of dollars for each tree. So anyway, yeah, I don't know where that goes, but I think that's what the public sees, you know. But apart from that, I think I'm really happy with our consents. I think that's really great, and I think we'll do even better once we've got a new manager and we're changing our culture as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, Madam Chair, I just didn't know where else to go next.
No, but I mean, that's,
It was about performance.
it is about performance, and more of this meeting, I want to focus on the performance.
And I don't care
because-
about the transit cloud. I'm fine about that.
But
You won't go there.
if I can just make one comment through the chair. Yeah, this is, the performance committee definitely does
Yeah.
need to look at these performance issues, and when there's systemic issues, we expect it to come up and be reflected in some of the statistics you're seeing. Specific examples, though, if they are brought to the attention of the staff, we need to hear those. So if there are specific instances, like the first one you brought up, the noise complaint where the customer didn't believe it was being addressed, we definitely need to hear those ones. So I take it you're forwarding those through for someone to look at here?
Well, he's leaving now.
Yeah, but-
you know, I think it's hard to know who to send them to be quite honest. You know, councillors need a particular person that can triage everything for us, not just,
Oh,
you know.
look, there's many customer
We need a dedicated,
access-
I know, but we need a
access points.
dedicated officer for that stuff.
Send everything to Kevin.
Look, or, I mean, as you've done with the large complaints, the chief executive then will pass that through to the
Yeah.
relevant person. So look, definitely, because we can't monitor every instance.
No.
But I think what you're hearing is that noise complaints, hello Nigel, need to be looked at in the rural area because there's, you know.
Because we
well,
might have rules, but how do we enforce them? And it's not easy, but it needs to be effective or don't do it.
do you want to make a comment?
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to make a comment. We do have relationship managers that are available to all of councillors and local boards in my team and customer services team.
Sorry,
to
is
help
this
you with
the
those.
local board relationship managers?
No, this is
'Cause
from
that
a
doesn't
customer
work.
service. This is from a customer service perspective
right,
to address
okay.
those particular issues.
Does that
So-
mean we have to ring up the customer service and ring the council
No,
number?
no, it doesn't. I'll get some direct contacts and distribute them around the group, and get some cards and that to distribute. So
When
Sally
you're in,
Woods,
that'd be good.
Sally Woods manages that area, and she has a number of relationship managers who you can go to, and they can navigate the organisation
Great.
for you.
Thank you.
I mean, I think, I know I've got Councillor Casey, Wood and Stewart, but, you know, some of the, and I've passed this on to the Chief Executive, some of our streetscapes are not very good. I mean, I was in Orewa recently with some overseas visitors and the place was shabby. You know, we used to have, people used to go out with blowers and blow the leaves away and all that sort of thing, and these weren't overnight stuff. This is all down our waterfront and everything, and I don't know. And I know that Councillor Penrose has brought it up as well. And
That's a consistent thread too.
it's a
Councillor.
consistent.
It's been going on for 2 years.
It's not. I mean, someone phoned me the other day about a walkway, cycleway that the community put in between Point Wells and Omaha, and now it's got big potholes in it, and the trees are overgrown. They can't ride their bikes. So, I mean, as councillors, we still get this. You pass it on to the local board. The local board deals with it at this level and sends out a whole lot of emails. Nothing gets done. So, I mean, these are the issues that some of us are really battling against. So, sorry about that. That's my gripe. Councillor Casey. Other than that, you're doing a great job.
I've got a couple of questions. My first relates to the percentage of calls answered within an hour at the call centre. And I've looked at the stats for the year, and it's a wee bit concerning to me that the range is from 47 through to 81. 47's appalling, and we've got 55% as well. Are there reasons for those dips? I'd rather see it 80-something right across the year without the...
Right, okay. Through the chair, a number of these areas that you're looking at are monthly stats, and depending on what's going on at the particular time in the council and the council business, we do have some dips, and this is averaged out. What I can talk to you specifically for those dates is rates and animal control for a lot of those things. I think if we go back into 2013, those are historic ones that we reported to you as council, and they're related to a changeover in technology. So we're not 100% whether those, and we don't have the data other than what comes out of the system to report the 47%, but we don't think it was that much. It was just all we had at the time, because we brought the system from old data to new data. So we don't believe 47% was actually, we didn't have the level of complaints at that time that would say, you know, over 50% of our customers aren't being answered.
So you say, Nigel, your forecasting's better, so do you look ahead to the month and then staff accordingly? Yes,
and it's an ongoing process in forecasting. So what we now have a system that is one single system right across the region, rather than we had 8 different telephone systems that we had to take all of our data from and try and assimilate. Right now we've got one system, so it doesn't matter where an agent is or where a person is in the region, they're on the same system. And we're now getting the data that will allow us to forecast, to say, look, depending on instances where we might have a rates increase, something like that, we can put in data or into the system, and it will tell us how many people we need on at one time and what days. And literally, I had a meeting with the manager of contact centres yesterday, and he said, you know, we now know that we don't need as many people working during midweek as we used to. We just used to employ people from Monday to Friday. Actually, we need to employ people from Wednesday through to Monday. So we're starting to work with our staff around, you know, around flexible working practices. Who would like to work different hours? Because actually it would benefit our customers in the business if they worked at different hours or different days during the week rather than the traditional Monday to Fridays, things like that. So.
My second question is partly to Nigel and partly to Jenny, and you might not be able to answer it, but anything less than 100% of responses within an hour to urgent animal control calls is totally unacceptable. And I said that last time when it was a bit higher than that. And the reason you gave was the changeover between outhouse and in-house. Yep. Didn't really work for me. My question is, there was a recent change due to our changeover from contractor to in-house. We also changed the system whereby if you call in with a dog complaint, instead of getting right through to animal control services, now it stops at the call centre. And that has not been communicated to the public.